Welcome to the Solid Verbal. And now, Dan and Ty.
Dan Rubenstein, welcome back to the show, my good friend. We were just talking off air about your exceedingly dry winter skin. Are you okay? Do we need to put a call out to the Verballerhood for any sort of recs or suggestions to help you?
Probably. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to lotion or moisturizer. I know I have to put the humidifier on probably more often when I'm sleeping and in my office or anything like that. But no, I need to hit this head on, Ty, because the discomfort is extremely real right now with dry winter stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, and the best thing I can do is turn to an expert like you, Ty. And so,
well, don't ask me. Don't ask me, because this house here, Solid Wife Kate, and I'm sure she would not mind me bringing this up. She has a bear of a time with this, and is begging me to try and come up with a solution in the wintertime. We have one of those little humidifiers, to try and like make things better.
Much.
But that doesn't really like accommodate everything. I have one of those like humidifier pads in the HVAC unit. I don't think that does anything. So it's just between that and the dogs that are walking around with all their fuzz, this is just sort of like a constant tinderbox of static electricity.
Yeah, I believe it. I totally believe it, Ty. And here's the problem. It is wintertime. It is late February, and it is a dry time for teams looking to get to the NBA draft lottery time.
Look at you.
I don't even know what that means. But there's a lot of bad NBA games completely devoid of any juice because teams are looking to tank. That's apparently the thing right now. I don't follow the NBA crazy closely, but that's apparently the big story about how bad NBA games are right now, because that's the strategy of so many teams, is to lose on purpose to give themselves the best odds at, the number 1, 2, 3 pick. Apparently it's a great draft NBA wise. And so I'm sure you'll get into some housekeeping, but that's the inspiration right now, because in these cold months, it's even colder for like 12 fan bases as they're hoping for warmth down the line, but you got to endure a lot of this dry spell.
Hit us up, solidverbal@gmail.com. If you have thoughts, of course, go to our website, solidverbal.com, and fill out the form if you have something to say. Please hit follow. Please hit subscribe if you made it this far. We will not be talking about dry skin on today's episode, I promised you.
I don't promise.
We have much bigger fish to fry. So, on today's episode, shout out to our good friends over at the college football subreddit.
Oh, okay.
All right. Like, they've always been super kind and supportive of what we're doing here. For my money, it's like the best source for college football news. I go there like 5 times a day. I bring this up because this morning I said to you, I read through all 866 replies to a post that was titled, "Who would you consider the best head coach in your school's history? Who would you consider the worst?"
Agreed.
866 replies. It was very popular. We are not stealing that exact concept.
No.
But we are going to put a little bit of a different spin on it, which is very much on brand if you've been here in the Verballerhood for any period of time.
Yeah.
Before us today is a list of, I think we have the 14 worst Power 4 teams in terms of net points per drive.
Yeah, so that's points scored per drive minus points allowed per drive. And that doesn't include garbage time. It's an analytic, a metric that I think we both appreciate on whatever level we do. But it gives you an idea. This is against FBS teams from 2025, how good teams were on a per drive basis before garbage time. So if you want a game 70-3, it's not counting all of those drives. But while the game is still in hand and you can look up, we use, the Brian Fremo stat. It's bcftoys.com if you want to investigate further. So we're using that in terms of a quality metric. That's a metric.
And I should add, just as an aside, this is a little bit of a point of contention between the two of us.
I know it is.
We get along great.
Yeah.
But you are very deep in the points per drive weeds. I'm just not. I'm more of an emotional creature, Dan.
Yeah, you're just a raw. I'm going to be very careful with how I finish this phrasing.
Yes,
I was going to say you're a raw ball knower. but
Settle.
you are just an old school ball knower, Ty.
That's
You're
right.
you're that guy on the tackling sled just barking at players in the summer heat. That's you.
We've got this list of the 14 teams. The metric we picked was net points per drive. And our thought experiment today is to talk through each of them and pick out the best current hypothetical. Where's my sound? Where is it?
I mean, you could play the draft jingle too, right?
I have that here somewhere.
Okay.
We are going to pick out the best current hypothetical coach for that school.
So yes. So how this
Continue.
works? Yeah. How this works is we're approaching it like the old sort of draft lottery. We don't have a ping pong ball machine here, but we're approaching it, I guess, in the way the NFL approaches it, that the worst team gets the first pick and second worst team gets the second pick, and on and on. So we're looking at the 14 worst 2025 Power 4 teams, lining them up in that order. So, spoiler alert, the number one overall pick goes to Oklahoma State in selecting any active FBS head coach. Correct?
Correct.
And then we go from there. Oklahoma State is officially on the clock. And so we are going to approach this in terms of both what we believe, we each have our own list of 14, what we believe to be the best coach and the best fit given that school's location, given that school's brand, given that school's what seems to be most successful style of play over the years, who they can and can't recruit with even an excellent coach of theirs. And so it's not necessarily like Kurt Signetti or Ryan Day or Marcus Freeman or Dan Lanning or whoever you feel is in that conversation. It's not necessarily the absolute most successful coach going to Oklahoma State or whoever. It's who's available and who makes sense if you are on that school's hiring team.
That's right.
Yes?
And also, you can't pick the current coach.
And you can't pick the current coach.
Like, if you're where Oklahoma State's going to be on the clock, I'll play the sound in a moment.
Yeah.
Can't pick Eric Morris. That's no
Right.
fun. So, in the entire universe of current college football coaches, we have to take a look at each program, strengths, weaknesses, what's the identity, what's the brand, what's the culture, all that good stuff, which we'll do. And then pick out a coach that we think is the best fit, maybe overall is just the best in general. That's for us to decide.
Yes, correct.
Let's start with Oklahoma State.
Do we want to reveal the draft order, like the full 14 teams, so people know what is coming?
We got Oklahoma State, Syracuse, Purdue, Virginia Tech, UCLA, and West Virginia, Boston College, Wisconsin, and Stanford, and then to close things out, the final five, Rutgers, Colorado, North Carolina, Florida, and Michigan State.
Okay.
Oklahoma State, the Cowboys. How would we ID the Oklahoma State Cowboys? Like, I jotted down, this is, in general, it's been a team with a pretty high floor. And for the vast majority of the time that Gundy was there, stability.
Yep.
That was part of why Mike Gundy was so good at the job. It wasn't until recently that things started to come off the swivel. In the same Reddit post that I mentioned a few moments ago, there was somebody who said that Mike Gundy was both the best and worst coach of all time for Oklahoma State, which is a very, very interesting perspective. I would encourage people to go out there and read. But
his last two rosters finished 0-18 in Big 12 play.
Yes. So this is a program that has, I think, in the past thrived at identifying some undervalued high school talent, turning them into NFL-ready skill players. Noted for offense, Boone Pickens Stadium is, I think, a great home field advantage.
Yeah.
So that's like the best of. I think on the weakness side, recruiting. It's been tough to kind of hit a recruiting ceiling. In recent years, we've seen, I think, a lack of depth compared to some of the other elite programs that they're.
Buddy, a lack of everything.
A lack of everything and defense, right? Defense kind of goes without saying, but this is a program that I think we link mostly with high-powered offenses and not as much with defense, though there have been some moments like the Jim Knowles years,
totally.
they were very good on defense for sure. But when I think of at least the version of Oklahoma State that bounces around in my head, it's one of electric offense.
Yeah, when I take this into consideration, I'm thinking location. I'm thinking, the best of the best, the worst of the worst. What is the support like behind the scenes? Obviously, in good times, there has been a lot of money behind the scenes with Oklahoma State. And so with a new A-list coach, which obviously I think we're going to assign, I think the money would be enthusiastic behind the scenes. You're not winning the most difficult conference. You're not trying to win the most difficult conference in the sport. I think it's actually a pretty easy selection here for me.
You think it's an easy selection? Okay, who's your pick?
I'm going Curt Cignetti, 1 overall. I'm going in the portal era with money in a conference that I'm not going to say is easy to win, because right now BYU and Texas Tech seem to be, pacing the way in terms of consistency. ASU is right there, but we'll see what they look like without Sam Leavitt. There's a lot of quality teams in this conference, but I think in Stillwater, I don't worry about Curt Cignetti building a team of transfers to get this team to double-digit wins within a couple of years. He has done it in many different geographic places, obviously in the Northeast, at James Madison, at Indiana, at Alabama, as assistants or a head coach. This is a no-brainer to me. The most impressive recent coaching name, given history and given the uphill battle, I'm going to say Curt Cignetti to Oklahoma State.
Cignetti's the answer. Cignetti's the only answer.
Is that who you took?
Well, yeah. And look, there are going to be people who listen to this and be like, yeah, duh. Of course you're going to pick Curt Cignetti.
I don't think it's a duh, but yeah.
Well, but here's the other aspect of this, and this is what I think I focused on. Obviously, we know the guy's been very good in the portal. He's been bringing these guys in there. It feels like each portal cycle has gotten a little bit better. And what I like about Cignetti is the fact that he is in a very difficult conference of the Big Ten. Clearly, Indiana was never anywhere close to being on the same level as some of the teams that they are now beating and one-upping and winning the national championship and conference championship over.
Yeah.
You put a guy like that in the Big 12, the Big 12's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of always been that way. But the Big 12, even now, more than ever, is wide open. To put a guy like that, a force like that in Stillwater with his recruiting prowess, even via the portal, and his ability to just sort of instill a toughness that is true on both sides of the football. Mm-hmm. Cignetti, I think, this version of Cignetti that we're seeing at Indiana, you put him really at any school, and he will find some way to translate that toughness to the personnel and get the team playing really good, balanced football that's disciplined on both sides. So Cignetti's off the board. The easier answer here is Oklahoma State. Full stop.
The bonus is if and when he were to thrive and succeed in Stillwater, you would get Pistol Pete wearing like those rectangular reading glasses.
Yes.
You would get like that because they're obviously Oklahoma State unafraid to have Pistol Pete in different poses, and there's the shirts playing different sports and fishing and wrestling, and so they're not afraid to change the Pistol Pete context. So celebratory reading glasses for Pistol Pete to me is a huge bonus here.
Now the only thing that I will add, on the topic of Eric Boras, most of what I described, that so-called brand of Oklahoma State football, they very much played into that by hiring Eric Boras.
Definitely.
Right. So oftentimes we talk about a coach being hired at a place and it feels like a weird cultural fit. I think the Eric Morris hire at Oklahoma State is right on brand. Another name that I jotted down kind of along those same lines, he's not currently a college football coach, but a guy like a Cliff Kingsbury, if they were looking to stay on brand, if it weren't Eric Morris, that's another guy that would sort of fit that like general motif that I think I described. But obviously Cignetti would be the answer here. Full stop.
Yeah. I think that's almost too Big 12 an assignment to put Cliff there after the defenses that he was fully able to ignore at Texas Tech. All right. Number 2, you can not select first, but you can reveal your selection first.
All right. Number 2 is Syracuse.
Yeah.
Syracuse in the ACC, kind of an outlier. Obviously pretty deep Big East roots, notably a basketball school, at least it used to be. Mm-hmm. I think the JMA Wireless Dome, or whatever we're calling it these days, I don't even know if it's got the same name.
Yeah.
I think that's a distinct home field advantage. If nothing more, it's got that weird camera angle.
Mm-hmm. Super
when
low.
The really, really low vantage point, it's not necessarily an area of the country that is devoid of talent. You know, PA's been really good in terms of talent.
New Jersey, yeah.
New Jersey's been really solid. They've clearly got a pipeline into the Midwest as well. So this is a school that it's not too far removed from some of the recruiting epicenters in college football. And they do have a history of producing generational talent like Jim Brown, right? Ernie Davis. So I just think that the problem for Syracuse that they need to get over is not having the storied football tradition of some of the other programs in the region, and B, though they've got the recruiting pipelines into some of these places that do produce talent, geographically speaking, it is still sort of an outlier.
Okay.
And that does play in, bigger picture. Fran Brown is at the helm right now. He's been able to bring talent in, but not necessarily the level of depth that I think they would like, which has led to some issues when injuries arise, just in general, some inconsistencies across the board, be it offense or defense. But
accidentally looked like they were tanking after Steve Angeli after Steve Angeli went down against Clemson. They didn't win again. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So, I mean, it's a very difficult job for a whole multitude of reasons. One name that I am interested in is Mike Elko.
Ooh, I love that pick. I didn't take it, but I think that's a great pick.
Mike Elko, sort of a defensive mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
He's notably been very, very good at his previous stops for instilling some sort of identity and discipline right out of the chute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to build around a really strong defensive mind. No knock on Fran Brown, but a really strong, notable defensive mind in a guy like an Elko.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you need to build consistency when you're recruiting and when you're playing in a tougher geographic footprint, right?
Yeah.
You need some sort of identity that you can build around, that you can recruit to, that once people see the success, it sort of hits critical mass. It recruits to itself. I don't think Fran Brown's there yet. Right now, they're jumping portal cycle to portal cycle.
Yeah.
What is that identity? The identity right now is bringing in, to my eye, bringing in the biggest name transfers that they can get and then trying to rebuild the whole thing around those guys.
Yeah.
I'm saying we go the opposite direction with Elko, and let's build around a really strong defense. Let's start with that as the bedrock and then branch out.
Yeah. So ties to the Northeast, obviously, as you alluded to,
from
in
New
Mike
Jersey.
Elko, where he's from. Has coached everywhere with success, has, Wake and Duke and Texas A&M, Notre Dame. So has a good recruiting footprint all over the place. I don't hate that pick. I went with somebody also with Northeast ties. And somebody, I think the distinct advantage of playing in a dome is what you can do on offense, right? You're not playing with wind. You're not playing with elements. I go Ryan Day to Syracuse. I go double McCord, making the move from Ohio State to Syracuse.
Wow.
They were just able to bring in a commitment from I think a 5-star receiver, or at least a blue chip receiver from South Florida. And so you have that connection that you can exploit even more with Ryan Day. You need to find a quarterback, basically. You get Greatest Show on Turf, ACC edition, and Ryan Day can point to a number of positions at Ohio State, because we're talking about Ryan Day today.
All right, hold on. Counterpoint.
Please. Yeah.
Is Ryan Day a good coach, or is Ryan Day a good coach because he's at a place like Ohio State?
I think both can be true. I think Ohio State is a good place to develop into a good coach. He's played in a lot of big games. He's won a national championship. He's won a lot of big games. Obviously, people are going to point to certain games against Michigan. Michigan often, if not ever, never on the Syracuse schedule. So that's a huge thing. I think he's a very, very good coach. I think he might even be an excellent coach. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the sport. I think there are certain pressures that you have to deal with at Ohio State that coaches other places just don't have to deal with. And he's won a national championship. He has developed quarterbacks really well. He has attracted receivers. He has built up line play, great defenses. Obviously, it's easier to find those guys.
Right.
But the pressure
That's my point.
It's easier to find them, but you're dealing with a lot more pressure at a place like Ohio State, and you're playing, high level schools at Ohio State that are very difficult to beat, right? You're playing against Notre Dame in a national championship and in the non-conference, a couple times. You're playing against Oregon. You're playing against Michigan. You're playing against Penn State. You're playing against Indiana now. Like, those games are not nothing games. Those teams are filled with NFL players, and Ohio State has managed to come out on top most of the time. I think Ryan Day, at this point, there have been coaches at Ohio State who have not succeeded, Ty, or not succeeded anywhere near the level Ryan Day has. I'm a believer in Ryan Day's greatness as a modern head coach, and I think anybody who goes down that like born on third base thing is either a Michigan fan or is not paying attention. And so I think Ryan Day is excellent, and I would happily have him as the coach of my Syracuse Orange.
Let's go to team number 3.
Please.
The Purdue Boilermakers. Dan, you're up.
Yeah.
What do you make of Purdue in that situation, and who fits it?
Yeah. Purdue's tough. They've had some success. It's seemingly with offensive-minded coaches, but Purdue needs to find excellence any way they can find it at this point. You're going to hire a coach who brings in a great offense, they'll be thrilled. You find in a coach who has a great defense, they'll be thrilled. You find in a coach who has won as a great recruiter, they'll be thrilled. Any sort of successful, proven, obvious, excellent coach at Purdue, nobody's complaining in West Lafayette. I'm going to go with somebody who is familiar with recruiting the Midwest. I'm going to go with somebody who has recruited regionally, nationally, hyperlocally, take your pick. I'm going to go with somebody who has won on a big level. I'm going to go with somebody who is young, who has a lot in front of him in terms of a coaching career that could build an anchor in West Lafayette. I'm going to go with somebody who is damn local in Marcus Freeman to Purdue.
The Spoilermakers, huh? Spoiling my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, but taking Marcus Freeman. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, as is the case with a guy like a Signetti, I think the same is true for somebody like a Freeman, in that most schools around college football would take him.
Of course.
If Marcus Freeman decided tomorrow he doesn't want to be at Notre Dame, but he wants to coach at another college, there would be about 130 other schools lined up, more than willing to pay him whatever to bring him in.
Mm-hmm.
So what specifically, though, about Freeman is a fit for Purdue?
I mean, you immediately increase the talent level. This is a school that's already willing to invest and has high expectations for its sports teams, given what the basketball team has done recently. Matt Painter has been around forever. And if, Marcus Freeman is happy and he is excited about Purdue and their future, they'll do everything they can to keep him around. We're living in a vacuum in which they get to select this coach. They don't get to choose how long he stays. But no, I think the talent level will be increased. I think the defense immediately will become formidable with that talent level. He is also going to be dealing with what I assume is a portal situation with less restrictions than potentially what he has at Notre Dame. And so he can overhaul things quickly. I think he'll be able to find a quarterback quickly. His offensive coordinator hiring has gotten better than where it was early on in his career. And I think even in a very difficult Big Ten, I think Marcus Freeman could build a roster at Purdue that would immediately become bowl eligible. And then I think by year 3 would be a legit threat to take down most teams in the Big Ten. And we're talking about flirtations with the playoff at Purdue in 3-4 years, something like that.
See, I kind of went a different direction. I mean,
That's okay.
Freeman's the right answer for all these teams, okay? And there are a couple of guys that I'm sure we're going to talk about that you could obviously see them fitting in. That is not the point of the exercise. I jotted down Josh Heupel.
Okay.
For Purdue. And I kind of harken back to two things that come to mind when I think of Purdue. A, their spoiler maker label, at least the old label, relied pretty heavily on finding an offense that, for whatever reason, and this isn't to say it was always electric, but for whatever reason, finding a way to put an offense out there that the other teams in the Big Ten couldn't easily replicate or defend.
It was a very specific system.
Very specific, right?
Yeah.
And Heupel has that. Heupel runs things at like a hyper fast speed. He plays super wide across the field, tries to stretch you out. It's sort of ish a modern spin on the old Joe Tiller basketball on grass.
Yeah.
So I think he turns West Lafayette into kind of a nightmare for opposing defenses. I think he is able, via that offense, to out-scheme some of the deficiencies they might have on the talent side until he's able to build that back up. And if nothing more, they would get something in West Lafayette that they haven't had in quite some time, and that is actual quarterback development. Actual quarterback development.
Yeah.
So I like Freeman. I think Freeman's ability to go out there and develop a quarterback, TBD.
That's true. I mean, CJ
TBD.
Carr is internal.
I love CJ Carr. CJ Carr is one of the co-favorites for the Heisman in 2026.
Yeah. Had a very strong first year.
Very strong first year. But TBD
Yeah.
on quarterback development, not so much the case for Heupel. I'm pretty confident that Josh Heupel develops a quarterback. He's not that far removed from the general footprint right now.
Well, hold on. Hendon Hooker is the success story, right?
Sure.
Did not start out his career at Tennessee.
No.
Joey Aguilar had a nice year last year.
Right.
Did not start out his career. It looks like that's going to be it for Aguilar.
Yes.
His internal guy was Nico. Took him to the playoff.
That went great. Still there, right? Oh,
Not necessarily
never.
a development success story on or off the field. Not a fit for Tennessee. Didn't get better over the course of that season. I'm not sure you can look at Heupel. You can look at Heupel's system. You can look at Heupel's ability to adapt, given how they've run the ball. The defense that they've built, especially when healthy, have been strong. He's hired, it seems well, and now has hired Jim Knowles at Tennessee. I'm not sure you can look at Josh Heupel and be like, that's a quarterback developer from early on in somebody's career.
Well, he at least used to be a quarterback, so there's that.
That's true.
So there's that. All right.
Did a good job at UCF. I agree.
Next team is Virginia Tech. I struggled with this one.
I did, and then I didn't.
I struggled with this one. This is a program, the old school Beamer ball. And the pull for me was, do I put Shane Beamer in there because of the family connection? But obviously a bit of a defensive heritage there, playing tough on special teams, winning knife fights. Some of those physical fundamentals, I think, have defined this program over the course of my lifetime. Anyway, that's sort of what I think of when I think of old school Virginia Tech football. And also smart coaching. Like, you can't be good on special teams, as good as they were under Frank Beamer, without being really smart about A, your scheme, and B, just the discipline. Special teams, above all else, is all about discipline.
Agree.
And so that side of it, to me, I think is what stands out the most. Recently, I think they've been defined by terrible inconsistency on offense. Recruiting, that's a bigger discussion about recruiting. And I would say bigger picture, just their relevance in all of this right now in the ACC, in the college football playoff era, and NIL and the transfer portal. Part of why they brought in James Franklin, trying to reboot some of that. Now, because we've given the answer that we can't take the current coach, my answer here is Jeff Brom.
At Virginia Tech?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Who's your answer?
At Virginia Tech, I took Kirby Smart.
Oh.
Who is arguably the best coach in the game, given recent results, both recruiting, building defenses, building offenses, hiring assistants. Virginia Tech is East Coast, Southern adjacent. He'll recruit the hell out of the area. He'll recruit the hell out of the Southeast. There's an electric atmosphere in Lane Stadium. At first, I was like, oh, well, maybe they could. No. Sometimes you just got to go with what might be the best name on the whole board entirely. Okay. If you took the easy way out, I don't disrespect you at all for that. It's not the easy way out. It's the only way out. Is hiring the best person who has somewhat of a regional tie, has recruited the vague region that is the East Coast and South and Mid-Atlantic, whatever. I don't know a single Virginia Tech person who would work for the school, who roots for the team, who would say, okay, on this side we've got Jeff Brom. On this other side we have Kirby Smart. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, you get Brom at a bit of a discount if you're comparing him to Kirby Smart.
Well, they're spending. Virginia Tech is spending. You take Kirby Smart.
They are spending right now, actually. That's part of what James Franklin helped usher in.
In an easier conference, nonetheless. Build up an NFL defense?
Yep.
Which you can do at Virginia Tech with lesser head coaches, with lesser success. You can build up a top 10 national defense at Virginia Tech. Now, there are different eras, whatever. If your starting point is you are going to attract and develop first-round defensive talent, and you could do that without, an elite national championship winning head coach, and now you're bringing one in?
Okay.
Come on.
Can I tell you the reason why I picked Jeff Brom?
You want to win fewer games. You're more humble.
Listen,
than I
if
am.
the two choices are Kirby Smart or Jeff Brom, you're going to take Kirby Smart.
Well, he's available on your board.
I just went a little bit of a different direction, Dan.
Oh my God.
I'm in my feels over here. I like Jeff Brom a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he is a fit for a program like this one that needs an identity. Because that, to me, is what jumps out the most with what we have seen from Virginia Tech over the last, decade now. What is the identity of this? We knew what it was under Frank Beamer. But what's the identity been under Brent Pry? What will the identity be under James Franklin?
Sure.
Jeff Brom is an aggressive play caller. His teams play tough, and his teams almost always punch above their weight class. It's not to say he's out there winning playoff games, but Jeff Brom's teams play hard whistle to whistle, and they're in every game.
Yeah.
He's currently in this conference, in the ACC. So he's got some familiarity with it. I look at Virginia Tech, I see a school that needs a strong identity. Certainly Kirby Smart could give him that. But Jeff Brom's another option in case they don't got the coin to go out there and get Smart, lure him away from Georgia.
Ty immediately goes and finds a coach who just lost to Virginia. Tyre at Virginia Tech. Okay.
I'm trying to go outside the box a little bit here.
You know what,
Kirby
Ty?
Smart.
Sometimes the box is warm and beautiful, Ty.
Okay.
Saddle. But also, you know what your identity is in hiring Kirby Smart at Virginia Tech? Your identity is a team that wins 11 games every year in the ACC. Yeah.
I'm not arguing
Pretty
against
fun.
Kirby Smart. I'm just saying you took the easy way out with this assignment. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, I took the right way out. I got out of the maze, Ty.
Next team. Your UCLA Bruins, Dan. You love them.
I do?
You love them.
I would hire Dan Lanning if I were UCLA in this scenario.
Okay.
West Coast recruiting ties, has hired very well, has LA specific recruiting and hiring ties. I think would continue to be able to recruit like UCLA is still, despite its lack of high level football success, people know UCLA.
Sure.
People know that brand.
It's a huge brand. Huge brand.
He is one in the Big Ten, and I think he would still be able. I think he would be able to convince money behind the scenes to invest on a level that they have not, and I think he would still be able to recruit in the way that not necessarily the ceiling he's had at Oregon, but I think he would bring in top 10 classes at UCLA. And given where USC is in terms of not quite getting to what their aspiration is, I think he would immediately turn UCLA into a local power, and I think that would be a no-brainer for.
I mean,
for the
so
Bruins.
much of this exercise is about staying on brand, and what Lanning contributes to UCLA in the recruiting is that would obviously go without saying.
Yeah.
But in terms of staying on brand, they would continue not winning big games.
I'm pretty sure Oregon and Dan Lanning won the entire Big Ten in the first year they were there, including a win over the eventual national champion. Yes?
No, I mean, it's true. And
okay, I just want that on the record.
The win over the national champion before they were the national champion. So is that like a transitive property situation?
Well, look, they both beat and lost to the national champion in 2024. They are, what is their Big Ten record at the moment?
I don't know.
Under Dan Lanning.
It's incredible.
Is it 24-1?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. I'm just
Still,
making
still
sure.
hasn't won the big one, though.
Okay. Ty, you can participate in rings culture all you want because this is a semi-NBA themed podcast. But look, if you're saying Dan Lanning or Bob Chesney or whoever you're gonna pick, what are you gonna pick right now? Matt Entz because he's a better fit. Who are you gonna pick?
I'm picking James Franklin.
Brennan was an assistant there. Or went like, come on.
I'm picking James Franklin.
Oh, I actually considered this as well. It
James
fulfills
Franklin-
his dream.
Yeah, James Franklin would love to go to LA. I think he would still go to LA. James Franklin would infuse that program with talent, full stop. He would get on the recruiting trail. He would recruit the hell out of that place. And he would relish in the fact that there is a crosstown rival. James Franklin wants to be in a big city.
Sure. Like Blacksburg.
Which is part of why I was a little bit skittish on that move.
Yeah.
But whatever, he's there now. I think he would do a good job, if nothing more, getting talent to UCLA, and they would be better. They would be better. Now, I like Bob Chesney. I'm not saying he's my answer here. He can't be my answer here because of the rules of the road. But James Franklin, with his track record of being a hardcore recruiter, I think would work pretty well here at a place that, frankly, just needs a little bit of a push. Like you said, it's already got a really good brand. It's already embedded in a really solid recruiting pipeline in Southern California. There's, I think, attractiveness in terms of the market, right? From an NIL standpoint, there is a big fan base for UCLA. So there's a lot going for this program. It just needs the right guy, I think, to light the fuse. And Franklin could do that.
And by the way, if he went 10-2 regularly at UCLA, he's getting a statue right next to John Wooden's.
Right next to Wooden, yeah.
The other name I considered here is a coach who I think is better than James Franklin and, hard to argue, better than Dan Lanning, and has experience on the West Coast, would be a fit regionally, I think, even though LA is, a big flashy town and he's not a flashy guy. I think that UCLA still flies under the radar on the West Coast in terms of winning, and in the Big Ten they have not done anything, and I think he would immediately turn them into something special. Kalen DeBoer. That was my other consideration here. Okay. I think his stock is lower than it deserves to be given the body of his work. I understand why it is where it is with how Alabama finished this season, but totality of his work as both a head coach and coordinator and somebody who has, hit the portal and, built winning teams. If you were to take Kalen DeBoer with your pick instead of James Franklin, I would have just said no argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. All right, next team. Dan Rubenstein, West Virginia. What number is this? West Virginia is number 6. We got a ways to go here.
Yeah.
Gotta pick it up.
Okay. We gotta pick it up. If the show runs long, or people are either into it or they're not at this point, right?
Yeah. If you're into it about a half hour or whatever we're at.
Yeah.
If you made it this far, you're probably going to be with us the rest of the way.
I can see all the comments and emails coming in about your pick for Virginia Tech coach already.
Whatever.
It's great. No.
Whatever.
Ty, you're getting that sweet engagement, Ty.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Great. Go ahead. Who do you got?
West Virginia, I want flash. I want sizzle. I want excitement. I want combustion, Ty. This is who West Virginia is, right? At their best, there is personality and style and recruiting the Southeast. I'm taking Lane Kiffin here.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm saying big swing, big emotions in Morgantown. I think Lane Kiffin is a no-brainer here. No? Yes? Agree? Disagree? Do you want to pick at that?
I mean, I get the case for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Is the money there in Morgantown to fuel his deepest portal desires? Because they're spending. I mean, that was the
they're bringing in 75 new players a season, so somebody's getting paid. I don't know how much.
Right.
I think if you're going to say, okay, find me a coach who, even if initially there's not a ton of money, find me a coach who can unearth and excavate wins with offense, and if you can find offense at West Virginia, and if you can go into Florida at West Virginia, like Rich Rod was able to do on his first go-round, and that Dana Holgerson was able to do, I think there's no reason Lane Kiffin won't be able to attract speedy, undersized receivers, a quarterback from somewhere. Like, I don't know. It feels like a great fit to me.
So here is what I am feeling when I think of West Virginia. Growing up, watching West Virginia football, I remember like the Pat White era.
Of course.
And the thing that I remember the most about West Virginia was they just felt really annoying.
Yeah.
They were
we're talking 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years
now.
ago. They were annoyingly good, and they ran a system that was just different, and it just felt like they were so far removed from the mainstream.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking along those lines when I came to a similar conclusion that whoever you pick kind of has to have a screw loose.
Offensive mad scientist, right?
At West Virginia. Like there's
Rich Rod, Holgo, Lane.
Right. It's just there's a rugged chip on the shoulderness.
Yeah.
Of being in like the Appalachians. I've got Eli Drinkwitz here.
I don't hate it.
I've got Eli Drinkwitz. You need somebody who is willing to embrace the culture of the institution in the region. I think Eli Drinkwitz would be a perfect fit for West Virginia. This is the state's professional team. Okay?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure on this coach, whoever it is. And I just think Drink would come in there, chip on his shoulder. He would do things to ruffle feathers. West Virginia is still kind of a one-off geographically speaking relative to the rest of the Big 12, right? They were when they got in the conference, maybe not as much now as it has expanded, but I think that's something that he could play into and do well with. So
but aren't you just taking Diet Lane in that case? Like if you were to weigh Lane versus Drink?
I think Drink would be there longer. I'm not certain that Lane Kiffin would want a West Virginia job to be his final stop.
I agree. But if you're just getting the best of this coach for however long, 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, I don't know. I just think Lane's ceiling is more interesting in the Big 12 than Eli Drinkwitz. Lane has beaten bigger teams. And I did check. There is hot yoga available in the greater Morgantown area. So would feel at home. Next
team. Boston College.
This one I wrote down really quickly.
You did?
Yes.
Who'd you
write
down?
I wrote down Kyle Whittingham.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
I don't expect, even though they've had good offensive, if not great offensive players.
Right.
And obviously Utah has had good, if not great offensive players. This hasn't been a BC program that has traditionally succeeded as a killer downfield program, maybe Matt Ryan era notwithstanding.
Right.
That they've built it out, the linebacker history, the running back history, obviously the offensive line history. I just think there's a certain amount of Northeast grit that would be a fit with Wit. Didn't mean to rhyme.
Wow.
Here we are.
Northeast
grit fit with Wit.
Yeah.
This is me thinking, okay, he is going to come in and he will find a bunch of 3-star offensive linemen in the Northeast and maybe the Midwest. And he would hire good coaches with that kind of footprint. And they would immediately be, kind of Utah East. If they can find the big bodies, there'll be an 8-win program.
I wrote down 2 names. The first is Marcus Freeman.
So he's still available on your board. So that makes sense.
Yeah, he's still available on my board and clearly is working within the structure of a very strict academic institution right now.
Kirby Smart's still available on your board, right?
Kirby Smart's still
Jeez.
All right, we'll throw him in one of these next couple.
Oh, so kind.
Yeah.
What a generous soul you are that you're going to throw Kirby Smart to one of these teams. Yeah.
But I think Freeman's familiarity with Notre Dame, he's got sort of the national Catholic high school recruiting pipeline thing working to his advantage right now.
Yeah.
And again, more to the point that I brought up with Syracuse, is very much crafting a very physical, tough-nosed defense and is using that as the bedrock for the thing. I think if you're at a place like Boston College, which is also even more geographically removed from the rest of the conference, I think it's imperative that you have that. It is a tough place to play. So if you can instill kind of that hard-nosed Northeast grittiness, as you called it, you turn them back into a disciplined, punishing team on defense, and especially in the trenches. That's what I think I'm going for with Boston College. That was the first name that I wrote down. I did for a moment think Kirby Smart, kind of along those same lines. Just because I genuinely believe this. If you're a school that feels like it is separated from the recruiting footprint, separated from the epicenter of your conference, you need a thing.
Right.
You need an identity. You need something that makes you unique and something that you can build around, and in hopes that, like I said earlier, it gets the critical mass and it starts to recruit itself. And so the version of Kirby that I want is the one that, much like Marcus Freeman, builds the very hard-nosed, rigorous defensive mentality. And we start there and we kind of branch out.
The only thing I would hesitate with, because I think Kirby's excellence is unimpeachable pretty much. Right. How energized is he to move his family and coach in the Northeast, right? That fit-wise, I think I went about as far north as I would go with Kirby Smart to Blacksburg, Virginia.
Right.
So he would do a good job. If for whatever reason, he would do a great job probably. If for whatever reason he's like, I want a new challenge and there's just something about clam chowder that has my name all over it, I'm moving to the greater Boston area. Boston College, not in Boston proper. Yes, obviously, great coach. But I just think you want the best version of all of these guys. And so that's why I would lean somebody like Whittingham. Well, I already have Kirby off the board, but yeah.
You got Kirby. All right, next one. The Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, this was an easy one for me. And I forgot his name, went back and realized he was still on my board, plugged it in, and was thrilled about it.
Hard nose, ground and pound.
Size.
Awesome game day atmosphere that I need to experience in person.
Yeah, it's great. One of the best.
I've never been. Everybody raves about Madison. Built around defense in the past, right? Just very tough-nosed football. Very Midwest. Who are you picking?
Okay, so a lot of guys fit this. A lot of guys you could plug in there. Wisconsin is a place that multiple coaches have won and have very specific identity when they're at their best. I don't think they would be able to pass up the opportunity to do a reverse Xavier Lucas and go Mario Cristobal in Madison. Now, I have Mike Elko still on my board. I think he would thrive in Madison.
I think
absolutely thrive in Madison.
Clark Lee is an interesting name.
I think Clark Lee would thrive in Madison. Absolutely.
Clark Lee kind of like embodies that humbleness that I think would play really well in the Midwest.
I couldn't get over the idea of Mario Cristobal interviewing with having Barry Alvarez in the room, whatever, in this hypothetical scenario. And Mario Cristobal, let me stop you right there. Say less. Same page. Right? Same page.
I mean, listen, it would be very on brand.
I guess this would also be,
Yeah. It would definitely be on brand. What about somebody like a Brent Venables?
Tyler Van Dyke. I'm trying to think if there's a bunch of weird connections. I think Brent Venables would be terrific there. I think Brent Venables, again, if you're talking about building up Wisconsin, leaning into what they can be, and you can find defensive players on all three levels, recruiting to Wisconsin.
Right.
I think he would immediately turn them into a threat to win double-digit games, even in this era. And Wisconsin's spending in the portal.
Yeah.
So I think with their starting point in terms of identity, you could find a ton of guys who would thrive at Wisconsin. But I would have said the same thing about Luke Fickell. So I don't know if Wisconsin merely thrived in a divisioned Big Ten, and it's just different now. But I couldn't pass up Mario Cristobal and Barry Alvarez, simpatico.
All right, next team.
Who did you select?
Clark Lee. I'm going Clark.
Clark Lee? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but yeah.
Next team up here is Stanford.
I have Elko here.
Okay.
Smart school experience, SEC experience, Wake and Notre Dame and like Duke. I think Elko would be able to recruit swimmingly. I think he'd be able to manage, success with Andrew Luck. I think it would be a clean, easy fit with Mike Elko. Obviously ACC experience at Duke, now Stanford. Like, I think he would be, in terms of how good he's been as a head coach by and large, I think he would be such a huge value grab to fall this far to Stanford at 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elko to me is, for my board, no brainer.
I jotted down Cristobal for this one.
I think a fit in terms of style.
Yes.
And would recruit, would find like big, smart kids to put on the cardinal and white. I don't hate it. Personality, I think you might be able to find other guys.
Is there a personality?
And I like Mario Cristobal's personality.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing the Kirby Smart roast and vice versa and all the coaches roasting each other at the Spurrier event. I don't hate it. I think he would succeed there.
I just think back to like the Jim Harbaugh and David Shaw teams that were very run heavy, jumbo packages, that type of stuff. Like that's Cristobal right there.
Sure.
So that side of it to me, and obviously, there's some West Coast ties given his time at Oregon, and he would recruit wherever he is. But Cristobal is the one that I jotted down here. I also had a cup of coffee with Kenny Dillingham.
Ooh, I don't think that's a fit.
I don't think it, which is why I didn't pick it.
Right.
But I'm trying to plug Dillingham in somewhere because he's another guy. Like, I know he's a West Coast guy, but when we're talking about guys with the screw loose, I did consider briefly Dillingham at West Virginia.
I don't hate it. But he's a West Coast guy, but has coached at Auburn and Florida State. Yeah.
He's been around.
Yeah.
Next team.
By the way, nice little poetry there with Cristobal's arguable 2 most embarrassing losses at Oregon to Stanford. Right. Where I think it was CJ Verdell fumbled it as they were running out the clock and they lose in overtime. And then they lost at whatever they were, 3-9 Stanford team. When Joe Moorhead had like a health emergency before the game.
That's right. That's right.
That would have been an Anthony Brown Oregon team, I want to say. Yep. I think the same team that beat, I might get my years wrong. I think the same team that beat Ohio State at Ohio State lost to Stanford. Who's the next school?
Rutgers.
This one's tough for me.
Is this Elko?
No, I took Elko for Stanford.
Oh, you just took him?
Yes.
Okay.
Elko's my guy.
Oh, okay. Okay. You took Elko. That's right.
So Rutgers, I have James Franklin.
Okay.
Northeast will improve the roster. I don't think he's getting them near the heights of Penn State, 10-11 wins. I think he turns them into a bowl team. I think he can find enough players, especially given, the Rutgers proximity to the Mid-Atlantic region. I think he could do just fine at Rutgers and have them above where they've been under Greg Schiano.
The problem for me was I just kept thinking the answer is Greg Schiano.
No, I know.
I mean, he's the one who I most closely associate with Rutgers football. So I struggled with this one as well. I think I eventually settled on somebody like a Shane Beamer.
Ooh, I don't know. Okay.
Because you need some sort of like firecracker when it comes to recruiting, or at least instilling a crazy mentality if you're going to play college football in the greater New York area. Like, you got to have some sort of magnetism on the personality side to draw people in.
So to be clear, you still have not selected Kirby Smart or Dan Lanning.
Well, we kind of
or Kalen DeBoer. Okay, you're a hard fit dude.
I mean, sure, we could put Kalen DeBoer in Rutgers.
I just look.
We could
I
do
admire
that.
you're blazing your own trail here.
I always do. Shane Beamer was the name I jotted down the most.
You have not selected Ryan Day, is that correct?
I have not selected Ryan.
You have not selected Steve Sarkisian. You have not selected Kalen DeBoer, Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin. You have not selected.
No, I'm done with Lane.
Kyle Whittingham, Lincoln Riley.
Lane can take one of the jobs that's being vacated as part of this thought experiment. He can take the Tennessee job again and mend some fences.
You have not selected Matt Campbell. You have not selected
Matt Campbell's great at Penn State. We should keep him.
Kirk Ferentz.
I'm not going to select Kirk Ferentz.
You haven't selected Kenny Dillingham, Rhett Lashley, Mario Cristobal. You haven't selected Brett Bielema. I think Brett Bielema at Rutgers.
You didn't select any of these guys either.
I
Shut
know.
up.
I'm just looking at the coaches you have selected.
Well, don't
and
worry
you are
about it.
putting
You worry
them
about
above
your
some
own
of
thing.
these guys.
Don't worry about me.
Okay.
I don't
You're
even
building like
remember
an
who I took
Outback
Beamer.
Bowl all-star.
I'm taking Beamer. What? Shut up. I'm taking Beamer at Rutgers.
Okay. That's fair. Okay. I think who was the guy that, oh God, it's the funniest thing ever. I think it was Seth Greenberg who said, 2 years away from being 2 years away. Like, I think every time you pick a coach, you select a coach on behalf of these schools, they're cutting back to the studio and being like, this guy's out of his mind.
Next team. I hate this game.
Bruno Caboli? Was that his name?
Colorado. I have Dillingham for Colorado.
Bruno Caboclo. Okay.
Dillingham's my answer for Colorado.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't hate that. That's fine.
Yeah. I think now that they've broken the seal on trying to go for somebody that's different, and someone who will push the limits and a force of personality, as is the case with Deion Sanders, Kenny Dillingham is very much that. And he's actually a better coach. So I would go Kenny Dillingham in a heartbeat at Colorado. Geographically speaking, culturally speaking, I think a lot tracks. Let's go Dillingham in Colorado.
Very good quarterback reputation, has recruited the region, obviously is credited with some of Bo Nix and Sam Levitt's development, has won the conference. Mm-hmm. So familiarity there. That's where I'm sticking Kalen DeBoer.
Okay.
I think Kalen DeBoer, again, quarterback, West Coast ties, not that Colorado's on the West Coast, but regional ties, has won everywhere. I would be thrilled if I were a Colorado fan if I were to call somebody up and say, guess what? Kalen DeBoer is flying to Boulder to take over, and you're going to be in great shape. Now, I don't know what the recruiting looks like. I don't know what the portaling looks like. I don't know what their budget looks like moving forward. It's sort of a weird, precarious place right now in terms of roster management and construction to me. But I think Kalen DeBoer could maximize whatever he's handed in Boulder.
Next team. Here's where I'm going, Lane Kiffin.
UNC.
North Carolina, yeah.
Okay. An interesting cultural fit.
It's not a cultural fit, but it's not any worse than Bill Belichick.
That's true.
Historically, more of a basketball school.
Mm-hmm.
Has had some success on the football side, and frankly needs somebody to come in there that is willing to go out and attract top portal talent until they can get high school recruiting up to the same level.
Okay.
And that's what Lane does. That's what Lane does. He's going to put an offense on the field. He's going to recruit elite athletes. He's, I think, got the brand needed to elevate North Carolina. That's kind of what they were going for with Belichick, right? They were looking for somebody whose reputation preceded them. Granted, it might take a little bit to get things going, but I think there is definitely going to be, as we will find, the deeper we get into the 2020s, mm-hmm. as we get near the end of the ACC grant of rights, you're going to hear more and more steam about the value of North Carolina as a program, as a football entity. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe this could be a move as a bit of a precursor to a jump down to the SEC or over to the Big Ten.
Okay. I took Sark here.
Okay,
which is
I can see that.
Because
Yep.
Kiffin and Sark go sort of hand in hand with their history.
Yep.
We're sort of repaving the Texas-North Carolina pipeline with Mac Brown. The best of North Carolina over the years has been exciting offense. He'd be able to find a top-flight quarterback, as North Carolina has had very good quarterbacks over the last 10, 15, 20 years. Could find receivers. It would very much play into what North Carolina has done especially well and what you can find. I would take Sark there. And I considered Heupel here, who's still on my board for much of the same reason. I don't know. I'm going Sark here. Experience, has been at Texas, USC. I think there's similar type school experience on a certain level, so I'm going Sark.
Next team. Florida Gators.
Yeah.
Florida Gators.
Good enough for Dan Lanning or Kirby Smart yet? Or are you like,
Lanning
I'm
is-
going Bob Chesney.
Listen, shut up for a second.
Bob Chesney. I'm going
Shut up for a second.
Sonny Dykes.
How many times on this show,
Yeah.
have you been over on that end of the conversation, talking through and even stoking the flames a little bit
Yeah.
on, Kirby Smart? Kirby Smart might not be coaching in 5 years.
I agree, but we're living in reality here.
Kirby Smart signaled to some people closest to him that maybe, this is not like a long-term Nick Saban type of thing.
We're not really hiring these coaches for these schools. That it's just an exercise.
I know. But I have to use my arms like this to get people going.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been a little bit hesitant on Kirby Smart. Great coach. I want Dan Lanning at Florida.
I
want Dan Lanning.
I think that's great.
Dan Lanning would recruit the hell out of Florida. Got a bunch of built-in recruiting advantages. He wouldn't just limit his recruiting to Florida or the Southeast. He would do at Florida like he has done at Oregon and recruit the whole damn US of A. Bring the best talent in. They would pay. He would have that defense hungry and ferocious and bring in a ton of talent otherwise on offense to jumpstart that thing in a millisecond.
Sure.
And there's a reason that Dan Lanning's name came up for quite literally every high-profile coaching opening. I'm sure Florida kicked the tires on him as well. But in this alternate universe, I go Dan Lanning at Florida.
But, okay, I'm not going to belabor the Jeff Brom thing. But, okay, I think you're right. I think he would thrive there. I think he'd do a great job there. I think it's a seamless fit. Him falling on this board due to other picks.
See, you treated this like a draft.
You're
You
playing the
treated
draft jingle every 2.5 minutes.
It's the only sound I have. You're treating this like a draft, and I am treating this, I'm more of a seasoned HR professional, Dan.
I see. Good. Those are the most liked
comparing
people,
and
seasoned HR
contrasting
professionals.
Personality traits and cultural fit.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I applied a level of nuance to this that I think is above your pay grade.
Yeah. I'm sure West Virginia fans are thrilled that you've given them, who did you say?
Eli Drinkwitz
over Dan Lanning. Okay. I'm they're pumped. Florida, I have Kenny Dillingham. For much of the reasons you said.
That would obviously work. They would love
Florida,
it.
Kenny Dillingham, quarterback reputation, should be able to recruit, big personality in a place that I think treasures big personalities. I think he would compete pretty quickly. I think their ceiling would be pretty high. It's obviously a jump up in terms of prestige and size, all due respect to ASU, but I think it would be a welcome fit there.
How do you think he would deal with like toxic expectations in Gainesville? I think that would make for some awesome pressers.
I mean, look, we had an all-time coach win on the highest level in Gainesville and then went down with cardiovascular issues because of the pressures in Gainesville. So I don't think anybody's really dealing with being an incredible coach at any of these places in any sort of healthy way, but that's the sport we chose. So, yeah.
Michigan State, Pat Fitzgerald. Okay, show over. Thanks for listening, for downloading. Can we talk for a second about how neither one of us likes Pat Fitzgerald going to Michigan State?
Oh, I think it's going to go terribly. Yeah.
I really don't like this.
Same.
I really don't like this. And it's causing me to question my own logic because most of the time I like every hire.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am attracted to the novelty of a new coaching hire. Like, oh, that's a fit I didn't necessarily see or a situation that feels different. And, why wouldn't it work? This is one that I feel very confident and have felt very confident right from the jump that, no, this is not going to work at all.
Right.
I just don't like it. So this could be a real question that we have to ask ourselves at some point in the very near future. Michigan State, can they go out? Can they get a big fish? I want to hear your answer first, but I have one here. You've been giving me crap for this.
Yeah.
But I have a very obvious answer for this one, but you go first.
I thought mine was too, and I leaned into fit, but also somebody who has had a good level of success recently, who I think, if he could win at the place he's currently at, he could definitely win in East Lansing.
Sure.
So my answer is Brett Bielema.
Okay.
My answer is Brett Bielema. I think culturally, I think in terms of identity, I think in terms of comfort. I considered Kirk Ferentz here as well. In what?
That might be worse than Pat Fitzgerald.
Kirk Ferentz? Kirk Ferentz, who does nothing but win between 8 and 10 games at Iowa with limited to no offense.
This
Goes
is
to
a
Michigan
team.
State.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Per your metrics here, this is a team that had the 14th worst points per drive.
Correct.
Which means that we know they didn't play any offense, or they didn't play any defense.
Yeah.
And offensively, they weren't doing enough to make up the difference.
Yeah.
Presumably, people in East Lansing would like to see a little bit of a more stable offense than what I think they would get out of a Kirk Ferentz team.
I took Brett Bielema, to be clear. I'm saying I considered Kirk Ferentz. I don't know how you would consider Kirk Ferentz anything less than one of the best coaches in the country, given longevity and the ability to win with a hand tied behind his back.
I like Kirk Ferentz. I'm just saying, why hire somebody who is going to come in with a hand tied behind their back? What's the point of that?
I don't know. Do you like winning 9 games a year? It seems like a good thing. I just think there's a certain degree of fit there.
Clark Lee? Did you pick Brent
Venables? Clark Lee. No.
Like, you're going to take Ferentz over those guys?
I'm going to take a Michigan State coach that I feel like would be a better fit. And I think Brett Bielema on my board with what his ceiling could be in East Lansing. I love Brent Venables. I love Clark Lee. I think these are very strong coaches.
Could have taken Matt Campbell, be a decent name here.
He's already turned them down. So I don't think he's going to be super energized if I'm going to assign him here. Allegedly. Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm looking at other names here. And
there's 2 very obvious ones for this.
There's a lot of names that I think would make, I think Kalani Sitake would succeed at Michigan State. Yes?
I don't. There's 2 answers, okay?
Okay.
One is a guy that I saved for this one, and that's Kalen DeBoer.
Okay. Sure.
Because you may recall there were plenty of rumors about DeBoer going to Michigan, not Michigan State, but
for sure.
A general familiarity with the region, clearly knows how to put an offense on the field, and has won everywhere he's been. That's the first. The second one for me is Lance Leipold.
I think that's too ordinary.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because when you set this up and you were talking about, well, he's won at the place that he's at right now, and if he can win there, he can win here. I thought you were talking about Lance Leipold.
I think he would be a fine hire for Michigan State in real life. But given this exercise that it exists in the abstract, I think we're just dealing with a bigger realistic pool.
Well, I mean, if we're dealing in the abstract, why don't we just put Saban back at Michigan State?
Because the rules of the game dictate that it's active head coaches. I think there's a lot of guys that are still on the board, like Brent Pry, I think would do great at Michigan State.
Brent Pry?
Excuse me, Brent Key. I always screw up my Brents. Brent Key. Excuse me.
I was going to say, you're going to give me hell for Jeff Brom. You're going to go Brent Pry? Okay.
You know I screw up my Brentertainment all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can see Brent Key.
Brent Key at Michigan State would be great.
I thought maybe Brent Key at Rutgers would be interesting, but
I don't hate it.
See Brent Key. I don't hate that.
I really wanted to sorry. So who is your pick for Michigan State? It's DeBoer?
DeBoer. Yeah, it's DeBoer.
Yeah. I think he fell too far. I think Michigan State would be thrilled to have him. I think he could succeed there. But I have a lot of very obvious problems with your draft board. The
only one you don't like is Braum. You're okay with the other ones.
I don't think Drink should be as highly considered as you've put him. Who else did I not like here? Who did you have at Rutgers?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I think Rhett Lashley.
I had Beamer at Rutgers.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Shane Beamer there.
Okay.
I think Rhett Lashley deserved more consideration and conversation from us.
Definitely.
Yeah, I had Kirk Ferentz in the back of my mind for a couple of these jobs, just because I think he would raise the floor pretty quickly at a lot of these places.
I think Ferentz is the worst pick that either of us has given throughout this entire exercise.
Definitely disagree.
Disagree. The worst pick is Ferentz.
How is he the worst pick?
He's the worst pick.
All he does is win games without offense.
Is that what you want? You want to hire
wins.
that?
I want wins.
You want to hire a novelty?
Think about, it's not a novelty. He's been around. He's the dean, Ty. He's not flash in the pan. You know what you're getting with him, and you're getting wins.
You're getting punts and boring offense. No. The answer is no.
Their offense has improved, Ty. This is an irrefutable fact. The offense has improved.
It did get better.
I considered Lincoln Riley for North Carolina. I think Lincoln Riley also considered Lincoln Riley for North Carolina.
I think Lincoln Riley considered North Carolina for a minute.
I did not consider Dabo for any of these jobs, given we're doing this in 2026. We have Cristobal in there. I'm looking at some other, like Kalani Sitake I considered for some of these jobs.
Jed Fish considered all of these jobs.
Jed Fish, I considered Joey McGuire for some of these jobs, but it's hard to separate him given his limited history coaching the sport and limited history as like finishing with a ranked team just being this year.
Oh, yeah. You know who I consider for Michigan State? And I quickly talked myself off this ledge because there were some bigger names available, right? To your point that you've been droning on and on about. Mm-hmm. I did consider PJ Fleck for Michigan State.
Did not consider him.
I did consider it because, was very successful at Western Michigan before the run now at Minnesota. Did not go in that direction, but if we're being honest, this is a show about honesty. I did consider Fleck.
Okay, fair enough. Look, I think by and large, we did this show, and I did a great job. The commenters will weigh in.
Yeah,
Let us know
in the comments. In the YouTube comments, the Spotify comments, emails, social media, anywhere you can provide the feedback.
Yeah.
We want to know singularly what was the worst pick in this episode.
Yeah.
And if the answer is Jeff Braum at Virginia Tech, give yourself a mulligan and come back over the top with Kirk Ferentz at Michigan State.
That wasn't my pick. I said it's a consideration. My pick was Brett Bielema. The damage you just caused to the Virginia Tech psyche. Jeff Braum is a fine coach. Okay. I will. Yeah. Let us know however you engage with the show. And I'm excited to see.
You're just going big game hunt. You're playing for names, man. I'm playing for wins.
Playing for wins? Did Eli Drinkwitz have a win over a team with a winning record last season?
I don't know.
Buddy looked at Bo Prabula and was like, that's my guy. Okay.
Oh, my gosh. February content. This is what you get.
I had a great time this episode, to be clear. I loved it.
I did too. It'll be March next week already, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we get some warmer weather around these parts. Things will start perking up. We'll start talking spring ball and whatnot. A lot of news, too, that we still have to address. You did mention Joey Aguilar earlier, but we still didn't really go into detail about Trinidad Chambliss. There is now apparently going to be a lawsuit filed on behalf of Chandler Morris to try and get year 7, which is interesting because there are now both Bo Prabula and Eli Holstein at Virginia. So there's that side of things that we need to cover. There's stuff spinning around college football that we do need to take a bit of a knee and discuss, but we'll do so on one of our upcoming episodes. Again, solidverbal@gmail.com is the email, or you can go out to the website, click on the contact us form, and send in your thoughts, of course, social media, anywhere you can leave a comment. All that stuff's appreciated. And if you made it this far...
List out your draft, right?
Yeah, if you made it this far, let us know where we were right, where we were wrong, and please hit follow or subscribe.
Agree. Definitely agree. You're one of us.
You are one of us if you made it an hour and 15 into this.
Oh, that was great.
Let us know. Let us know. I will be watching carefully to see what kind of comments come into this one.
Yeah, like an AJ Hawk. Thank you.
For that guy over there, my good friend, Dan Rubenstein, still my good friend, even after all this. For myself, Ty Hildenbrandt, thanks again for downloading, for listening, for supporting. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you all on the flip side. Stay solid.
Peace.